Visiting today with our good senator from Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin. Of course, you were going to be at Farm Bureau with us today, but I understand meeting with the President of the United States might be just a tad more important for today, huh?
Yeah, especially with everything that's going on in the cattle market, because that's what the meeting's about. Actually, I have Cindy Hyde-Smith from Mississippi, who's, her and her family have a pretty good sized stockyard in Mississippi. And then we have Tim Sheehy, who's the newest senator from Montana. He has a big cattle operation up in Montana, and all three of us are going up to meet with the president today and just kind of show that the hoof price isn't where the target needs to be. It needs to be at the meat box price, and so we've got graphs that we're going over and showing, and he's very open to it. But we need some type of stability in the cattle market right now, and so yeah, I felt like this was a pretty important meeting. It was supposed to happen on Monday. It got postponed to Friday. So either way, we got to make sure we do that.
Well, I know as an Oklahoma beef producer, the president's kind of talked about Argentine beef, importing that, also ways to bring the beef price down. But, our producers, our cattle producers are part of the only ones that are actually making money right now. So I know with your meeting coming up with him, what do you intend to kind of speak on behalf of the Oklahoma folks?
Well, let's talk about the volatility in the market real quick, because with the president bringing in 100,000 head, actually, it wasn't bringing 100,000 head; it was bringing like 80,000 pounds of meat. But let's just say he does that. Our kill capacity in the United States is between 680 and 700,000 a week, and that's and right. And during COVID, we averaged for a little bit about 680, or pre-COVID, I mean. Right now, we're averaging 575,000 head of cattle a week that is going to the processor. So even if he brought in on the hoof, say he just brought in 100,000 head on the hoof, it shouldn't have made the market as volatile it is right now, because that would just put us at capacity for 1 week of a 52-week year. And so it doesn't make any sense when you see the market that has taken a hit like this. I mean, 500-pound weight steers down are down over $1 a pound right now. I mean, that's a huge hit. You have people that are dumping heifers because of financial needs. We're in a situation where I'm trying to buy everybody's two-year-old heifers now, open or not, and so it's got this volatility that's taken place because of this knee-jerk reaction. Or is there more going on in the market? One of the conversations I'm going to have with the president is I would like him to look into the market. I would like to have Pam Bondi and Secretary Rollins take a hard look of why is it the market it continues to dive when we have herds that are at the lowest that they've been since 1960. In fact, herd levels are like 1953 levels is the last time I saw. We have plenty of space in it, and a lot of people have drawn back from selling, and so we have less on the hoof being sold as we speak, and yet the cattle prices continue to drop. It's supply and demand that doesn't make any sense at all, because we've seen a meat box price go up $3 a box, and at the same time the hoof price has dropped. So there's something's not happening in the market, or something is happening in the market that's causing this volatility, and that's what we need to look at. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. It's not just Oklahoma specific. It's for all of us cow-calf producers, all the stockyards that are out there, all of our feedlots that are out there, everybody that's in the cattle business. It's for all of us, because we're all in the same boat together in this thing. I don't care if you're from Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, or from down south or here in Oklahoma. We're all being affected negatively right now. And the good thing is that the president is very open to hear this. I think he's only been getting one side of it, and it's from the packers.
Well, we're in day 38, longest shutdown, I think, in history. Kind of talk a little bit about what this means for Oklahoma. And are we going to get an end in sight?
I have I'm reaching the point of being the most frustrated I've ever been in politics. Every day is a great day, but today's just today. So I tell my team all the time, I get asked all the time, like, how's your day? It's a great day. And I tell them all the time, if I say it's just today, I'm doing this. I'm saying it's just today. And why I'm so frustrated right now is that we had a deal last week Last week, there was 13 Democrats that agreed to vote on a bill that would include 3 appropriation bills that would include ag, it would include Milcon, it would include ledge, which would pay our staff, which would pay the Capitol Police, which pay the federal employees up here, and then ag obviously would cover SNAP. And then you have our Milcon that would be able to make sure that we're able to pay our military and everything that's moving forward with it, with all the projects, all the direction, all the investment we're having there. And then we would CR the rest of it and then give them a date on ACA. But we couldn't guarantee an outcome. That was the agreement. That was the agreement that we had this time last week. But they wanted to get past the election of Tuesday because they were afraid that their base wouldn't show up to vote if they opened the government up. So here we come. Tuesday comes and goes. The Democrats are out there celebrating, said they had a big win. And you're going, you had a win in what? California, which was deep, deep blue. You had a win, what, in Virginia? That went 5 points for Kamala Harris. You had a win in New Jersey and New York. That's been blue historically forever. So where did you have your win? But either way, the left media is saying that they had this win, so they feel emboldened. They go out there and they've changed their rules. They have a whole bunch more demands, and they're still holding the American people hostage. And as in their words, they're using it as leverage. That's their words, not my words. They've had multiple senators, even the number 2 Democrat in the House, Congresswoman Clark, came out and said that it was a leverage point. Senator Coons from Maryland, I think Maryland, Coons, Delaware. Sorry. Anyways, he from Delaware that said it was a leverage point. You had Bernie Sanders saying it was a leverage point. You have Chuck Schumer that goes out and says that it's every day gets better for the Democrats. And so it's politics to them. It's not policy driven, and we're trying to have policy driven so we can get the government back open. And they're more worried about their elections and what it looks like leveraging the American people. And so here we are, day 38. Our plan is to put the bill that we'd agreed to last week on the floor of the Senate today or tomorrow. Today it takes unanimous consent. Tomorrow means that they're not going to give us unanimous consent, and we got to go through the debate process. But that's the plan as of right now. Now it's subject to change, but I'm very frustrated because I've been negotiating with these people for 40 some days now. The president gave me 3 clear parameters to deliver. We delivered on those 3 parameters, and we, like I said, we had the agreement. And now they're all over the place. And maybe I'm just too much Oklahoma, because when, in my family, and I'm sure in your family, and I'm sure in your listeners' family, it doesn't matter what you have agreed to do. If you've agreed to do it, you do it. The circumstances doesn't matter. If you've shaken somebody's hand and you said, this is what we're going to do, you're going to do it. And there's a lot of things that I've agreed to that I did not like. But I had already agreed to do it, and we did it. And that was kind of in this situation. This situation we find ourselves in is they backed out and want to renegotiate, and I'm not in the mood to do it.
Well, and you've had a lot of pushback. All of us, everybody's had a lot of pushback on social media saying this is a Republican problem. This is a Republican issue. You own the House and the Senate. So kind of speak to that. That's not how it works.
Well, yeah, we control the House and the Senate and the White House, but in the House, it's a simple majority. In the Senate, it takes 60 votes. We only have 53 seats, and so it's going to take 6 or 7 Republicans. But now you have Rand Paul, and Rand Paul is Rand Paul. So Rand Paul votes no on everything. So we have 52 yeses. Our top would be 53. We have 3 Democrats voting with us. So we go from 52 to 55. We only need 5 more Democrats to vote with us, and it would reopen. But we as Republicans cannot open it ourselves. It's the way the Senate works. The Senate is designed to allow the minority to have somewhat of a vote or a voice. and it's worked in our favor, right? When that 60 vote threshold kept them from packing the court when Biden was in office. That 60 vote threshold kept them from federalizing the election and making all of our election laws like California. That also the 60 vote threshold, which is, by the way, part of the filibuster part of it. It prevented D.C. from coming to state and giving them 2 more senators because we know we're not getting a Republican senator from D.C. So, I mean, that 60 vote threshold is there for a reason. But in this particular issue, we're not asking them to vote for Republican policies. That what we've asked them to vote for is a clean CR that they've already voted for 4 times. In fact, they voted for it 3 times when Chuck Schumer was the leader and Joe Biden was the president. This is the exact same CR, clean CR that literally Joe Biden wrote with Chuck Schumer back in September of last year. So it's not like we're asking them to do anything that they haven't already done. And that's why there's no room for us to negotiate. They should simply vote on something they've already voted for 4 other times.
Well, I know you're busy and you're about to run, but anything else you'd like our Oklahoma ag producers to know?
We're in this fight together, guys. I know it's been rough, and we definitely have a president that does care. We're as I said, we're going to be headed that way at 2:30 Eastern time, so 1:30 your all's time, to have a really good, productive meeting with him. He's asked for the meeting, so I know he's wanting to hear from us. And hopefully we can, see some stability come to the cattle market. But I sure appreciate. Wish I was with you guys today in person, but that's not
you're
where
doing
I'm
important
today.
work, sir. You're
Yes.
doing important work.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for visiting
Thank
with us.
you. I appreciate it. See you.